Hey, what's good? Hotep is the Egyptian word for peace. It's also the name of a guy who's making a bunch of other dads incredibly nervous. Hotep noticed that his sons really liked anime cartoons, and so he went out and created his own anime brand called Black Lion and Cubs. He also works as a consultant for comics, video games, card games, animations, toys, you name it, he's in. This is my conversation with Hotep from Black Lion and Cubs. Before you get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. So, I wanted to introduce you to someone. We just recently met online, and I have been a huge fan of independent comics, and I love bringing attention to those independent comics. So, today we're going to be talking to the creator of Black Lion and Cubs. Everybody, welcome, Hotep.
Peace. What's going on, Carlos?
What's going on, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Good to be here with you.
Well, yeah, thanks again for reaching out.
Thank you.
Um, and I think we met we met through a post that we had done because I had interviewed Dawood Anyabuile,
hmm
and I think that's what caught your attention. And so now we're here and we're about to talk about you and
mm
your comic strip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Daoud, meeting at Daoud go back to a whole nother lifetime before, way before I created this.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I said, "Oh, that brother talking to Daoud, man. Well, let's see if he'd like to talk to me too."
Yeah, yeah. Now Dawood has always been cool with me. We've recorded I think 3, maybe 4 episodes of a sort of podcast. I used
hmm
to have this podcast called Sketch Zone that was art related.
hmm
And so when I reached out to Dawood, he was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
mm
Well, if you know Dawood, he probably didn't say hell, but um, so yeah, and he's just always been cool with me. And always been open to the silliness that I pitch him. And so yeah, he's just good people. He seems like good people. Did you
Mm.
guys ever do shows together?
Nah, like I said, so I'm a longtime creative entrepreneur, and I started here in Atlanta in the mid '90s in the music industry. Transitioned from music to film, and then film to
Were you
publishing
producing?
books. Huh?
Producing or were you a
Yeah,
rapper?
producing both, but the rapping ended first. Then I got into the production because I figured the production felt more natural to me.
Sure.
And I always consider myself more of a speaker than a rapper or an
Mm,
entertainer, more of an educator, if you will.
mhm.
So,
Understand that.
yeah, so producing the music and then running an independent label, and then doing my first film in around 2004. I had a documentary that was.
So you basically what you're telling me is you don't sit still.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, I call myself a creative entrepreneur because like if I have something to say and I just find different ways of saying it, you understand?
Sure.
So I express myself through all different formats and mediums. So I met Daoud back when I wrote my first book called The Hustler's 10 Commandments, and that was in 2006. So I'm
Yeah.
about to celebrate. I'm celebrating the 20th anniversary of that book this year.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice. Let's go back to 2004 though, because you slipped in there that you created a film.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a bit of a filmmaker. If we can do
And
dabble dabble.
well, I am the consummate indie because not because I wanted to, but because I had to.
Yeah.
In the music industry, in all the industries that I enter, of course I wanted the record deal, or I wanted the production deal, or the
Mhm.
publishing deal, or the sponsors, or but I never got that. No one would give me anything.
Yeah.
So I tell people my journey is that of the person that can never find a way. I had to learn how to make a way. And I've
Mm.
been making a way for myself since, for the last 30 years. And so
Breeze.
that's why Black Lion and Cubs, it has just been, although it's only 2.5 years old, I've been crushing it because I know how to create. I know how to take my ideas and turn them into IP.
That is a skill that it's incredible how many people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a creative, y- you find creative ways to solve different problems, even if you're drawing, if you're inking, if you're doing whatever. That's how your brain was built,
Yes.
right? So what do you say to someone that is on the creative end of the spectrum, but they don't have that connectivity to the completing things?
Yes. It's part of the challenge, I believe, of the creative mind, right? So um, you have the creative mind and you have the commerce mind,
Mhm.
right? And the commerce mind is centered around business. These two minds have geniuses unto themselves. And when you're a genius in the creative space, uh, your mind is like it's like the opposite spectrum side of the spectrum from the commerce and the business side.
Mhm.
And so for a lot of our creative colleagues, what they have to do is either one or two things. Either they have to find someone whose genius rests in the commerce or the business side of things, or become that someone and balance
Mhm.
their genius and develop that side. Again, because of my journey, I'm the type person that doesn't sit around waiting for opportunity. I'm constantly trying to create opportunity for myself, and I believe it really comes down to a matter of confidence, man.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't. I find that a lot of creative people don't have enough confidence to put themselves out there like that because they don't want to get the negative feedback, or they don't want to be turned down like I've been turned down a million times. And
Tell
so,
them about
yeah,
it.
I mean, even to this day, I've been doing this for a long time. I still get turned down, but then I
Yeah,
stories of some of the great ones that I idolize, and they've had the same journey. So
right.
it comes down to confidence, and a lot of our colleagues lack that confidence or lack the willingness to develop that skill set or that mindset for themselves,
Yeah,
and so they just are left in that zone. And good luck to them. Hopefully, somebody picks them up and and
yeah.
utilizes their talent.
Is there a certain process that you follow, or are you like a feel it out and figure it out as you go kinda guy?
I'm definitely a feel it out, figure it out type of guy. Um, So, two things. Number one, for those that are attempting to build confidence, I always tell people to start where they're strong. Right. The way a person builds confidence is by getting those little wins, getting a little win here,
Mhm.
a little win, and you start to develop confidence because you've been winning so long. And so, in order to get those little wins, the best way to go about it is by starting where you are strong. All of us are strong at something, right?
Mhm.
And so, what happens is, unfortunately, people are sold these pipe dreams and ideas that pull them away from their own center of genius and force them to have to learn something new, or delve into something they have no idea about, right? And
Mhm.
so as they go through that journey, they start to take a lot of losses, man. They go through a lot of loss because they don't know anything about it. They've not experienced it. They're not That's
And
not
then
their.
they get sad at losses,
That's right. And then
like
they just give up. Oh, it's not for me.
yeah.
It's not meant to be. So if you start where you are strong, you find your center, your area of genius,
Uh-huh.
which all of us has, then you operate within that space. You start to see that you get more positive responses, and you get some wins, and then you start to develop and build that. Um, but to answer the other side of your question, my for me, it's always trial and measure, not trial and error, trial and measure. And
Mhm.
why I differentiate that is because for many people, it's trial and error. They try something, they make a mistake, they give up and on to the next one, right?
Mhm.
For me, and the way I teach it, it's trial and measure. So you try things, you measure the results and refine the process. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a giving up and throwing away and on to the next one. It's more, okay, that didn't work. What did work? Let's take what works,
Mhm.
whittle it down, and you refine the process.
Mhm.
So for me, even now in the development of this anime brand, I didn't know what I was doing, because I'm not an anime head. I hadn't been in this space, but I'm a creative entrepreneur. And what I've been able to do, the benefit that I've had is because I'm not in the industry, I don't know the industry way. So it gives
Mhm.
me the opportunity to operate in a space of innovation. I can
Yeah.
take the lessons from the music industry, take the lessons from the film industry, take the lessons from the publishing world, and combine all that and take those best practices and now apply it into the anime space, the
Mhm.
comic space, the video game, and so on and so forth. So that's just what really been giving me the advantages, not being an outsider and approaching this with the um, with the mind and the wonder and the curiosity of a child who knows
Mm-hmm.
no boundary. I don't know no boundary. When you're in the industry way, you say, "Well, I can't do it this way because that's not how they." But you
Yep.
can still do it. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking right there.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm in total agreement with you because I say things like this is a little disrespectful, but I say you have to be dumb enough to succeed.
True, true.
Like, and then I'm also a big fan of putting yourself, whether it's physically or mentally, into different difficult situations and figure out how to get out.
Yes, yes.
Right? Those are
That's
the little small wins that you were talking about.
absolutely. And being okay with the losses, like
Yeah.
understanding that loss, life is lesson, right?
Yep.
If you approach life as
Exactly.
if it's lesson, then the loss isn't so much a loss, it's a learning opportunity to say, you know what, okay, that didn't work. Well, why didn't it work?
Mhm.
Should we try it like this? Should we try it like that? Should we not try it at all? That's the
Right.
trial and measure. That's
Or
the
should we try
measure.
later? That's
There
a
you
good one
go. There
too.
you go. It could be the timing, right? So there's a lot of different factors that lead to a success. But if you're like somebody, if you're taught incorrectly, then when you face a lesson, you start to excuse me, when you face a challenge, you start to say, well, something must be wrong with me, and this must not be right. So I just give it up, and I have self-esteem issues now. Mental health is not good, and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly what you said. It's each even if it is a loss, it's not really. It's a lesson.
That's
And
right.
now either don't touch that stove or measure twice, cut once.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a beautiful thing for me. It's that's the adventure of life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fail all the time, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's like failing forward. You understand?
Yeah.
And I don't mind because I don't I only make beds that I can lay in. You understand?
Right.
So, if I'm making a bet and I lose, it's nothing. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Some people
Right.
bet their last, on everything on one thing. I just don't go about things that way. So the losses for me, while they may be sometimes embarrassing or personally embarrassing or disappointing, again, it's just a lesson. I see it for what it is. I refine the process, get out there and do it again, and get
That's it.
out there and do it again, and get out there and do it
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
And that screwdriver might not be for that screw, but it's gonna work on some of these screws out here.
That's right. And that's what
You
you
have to
learn through the
remember that.
process. You say, you know what? Oh,
Just another
it
tool.
was
Yeah.
I didn't do anything wrong. It was just the wrong situation to do that, right?
Yeah.
Or it was the wrong time to do that. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
save that because it does work. It just doesn't work here or
Right.
with this type of person. So yeah, man, that's wisdom. Unfortunately, it's wisdom that is now becoming more rare and more esoteric now
Mhm.
than ever because of AI and things of that nature. People feel like you know they can ask this entity to give them all the answers. They're not
Yeah.
willing. They're not willing to
And we
try.
used to ask our grandfathers.
There it is, right? And he was wrong half the time. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
was.
He's wrong half the time. But with the AI, I mean, listen, it's ridiculous. There's a gentleman that's touring right now with this book about the future of humanity. He says he starts with the future of men, but it's really the future of humanity. And he says
Mhm.
we're building a generations of people who are asexual and asocial. These are
Yeah.
the terms he used, not homo,
Mhm.
asexual and asocial. And for those that are listening that don't understand the difference, well, asexual means that I don't need another human to reproduce,
Right.
right? Asexual means excuse me, asocial means I don't need another person to have a social relationship with.
Right.
And he's saying that the future of humanity, if we continue down this route, is teaching young people that, you know what, now men in particular, in this case, he was saying, well, men are being socialized in a way where they don't feel like they have to talk to women anymore. They don't even need women for sex. They don't need that women for companionship anymore. They don't need women for anything because you can
You
have.
got some let me hit the because what you said is disturbing. You and I are, we got
Yeah,
a
we
little
just
salt
we
and
just
pepper.
silverback gorillas, man. We just that's why, yo, Carlos. That's why this is important because we the last ones. Listen to me. I'm 52. All right,
I'm
I'm
53.
52. Okay, we come from a generation and a culture
Yeah.
that um whose standard was based on keeping it real, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the language we used. Like if it wasn't real, it wasn't right. Like that was the standard, keeping it
Mm-hmm.
real. We don't live in that time anymore. I had to
Yeah.
come to appreciate this. We don't live in a time where people care about keeping it real.
Nope.
In fact, we live in a time when it's just the opposite. People
Mm-hmm.
know it's not real and don't even care,
Yep.
right? So in one way, some
Like
people will look.
they on Instagram they pose in front of a billboard that looks like they're at the beach kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
But it's a
okay
billboard.
because somebody's looking at it, liking it, and and
Yeah.
now they're feeling good and proud of themselves. Man, I know a dude, a grown man, not too young, not too much younger from us. He was excited that he bought his daughter a house, right? And so we delved deeper into the house that he bought. This wasn't a house in reality; it was a virtual reality house that he bought his daughter, and he was so proud of himself, man. So again,
I
the
got one of
scary
those
thing is,
Facebook houses.
yeah, right. People. So the point is here, and I'm gonna move on to something. We can move on to something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is the competencies that you and I have that we know are so important to our humanity and just feeling like a whole person. Young people are no longer developing. You understand?
Mhm.
The AI and the VR creates a situation where they don't even feel like it's something that needs to be developed.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is they will grow up. If people like you and I, the OGs, aren't respected and aren't sought out, then the wisdom that we have will die or will only be amongst an elite few. You understand?
Mhm.
Like my children, I ain't worried about my children. They're gonna have it because listen, let me tell you something. My son, we were talking about going to a con the other day. I said, son, we went to that con. They had people dressed up like Spider-Man. He said, is KRS-One gonna be there? I said, I raised you
My
right.
man.
I raised you right.
That's
You know
good
what I'm
home
saying?
training right there, kid.
So, again, I'm not worried about them. But again, our wisdom is going to be transferred to an elite few who are going to
Yeah.
continue to run this world, and the rest who are going to be sold this pipe dream about what AI and technology can do for them, and they're going to lose their humanity in the process. And
Mhm.
it's a scary thing. So,
Yeah. This AI thing is going to be a problem. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. There's a lot of what is going to dictate AI is what society is like, and that's where these lessons that we're talking about, like being OGs and telling people about how we grew up, that should be the foundation for how we leverage AI
right, right.
instead of just the mad dash and it's another gold rush.
And Doc, you said it right. I said it to this dude. I was in Chicago. I was in Chicago. I was doing a speech.
Oh,
I did a speech, a master class with Colin Kaepernick, right?
yeah.
And somebody came up to me afterwards and he ran this AI company. I said, listen, I'm not speaking down on AI. All I'm saying is the people that are developing AI and releasing this stuff need to have an OG in the room. You understand? Like an
Mhm.
OG, official OG should be in every room where there's a conversation about AI and how to utilize it. And the reason being is because to your point, we can help them utilize it with the competencies that we have, and it can build on that, right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. And what you said is important. We're like the people, like our grandparents now. If we're not careful, me and you, we got to make sure we don't sound like our grandparents who said, boy, when I was your age, we didn't had to walk 3 miles to school and 3 miles back and so on, right? And we like, well, who's gonna walk? What kind? That sounds ridiculous, Grandpa. Ain't nobody
Nah, now
walking.
we say, well, at your age, we used to go outside.
There you go. Exactly. So we got to be careful how we position ourselves because we'll sound just as outdated and corny as them.
Right. Instead of leaning into it, because it's new for everyone.
Mm,
That's the thing.
it is.
It's new for everyone. We don't know what the hell's going on, let alone you guys.
Yes.
So having the perspective of everyone in the group, the old folks and the new folks. Where can we go with this and how do we do it responsibly? And I know artists are upset with the image generation part of AI. I
Mhm.
that's not the one I use. The one I use is the one that takes all the jobs from the C-level managers that don't do anything but plan lunches and tell us what to do.
Mm. Doc, I'm telling you, this I had a long conversation about how people use it, what which type of applications are cool, which ones aren't.
Yeah.
But the bottom line, again, like you said, is um, we're learning about this together.
Mhm.
The difference is, I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, just imagine our children, like imagine growing up and watching something happen on TV and not knowing if it's real or not. You understand? Like
Mm.
when we watch, think about this. When we were coming up as children, I'm talking about children now, because I got young children.
Mhm.
As a child, I'm watching King Kong, right?
Mhm.
I know it's not real, right? Because yeah, I can see the
'Cause it
special
was
effects.
obvious.
Yeah, you got the hand, right?
Like
So I
some
know it's
dude
not
in some
real.
hairsuit.
There you go. Like, you can see that, right? But you're entertained by it.
Yeah.
Now, children
Yeah.
are watching something on TV
Yeah.
and it looks so real, but it's so wild. How do you, if you don't know any better, you understand? This is the
Yeah.
danger for a lot of young people is if you don't know any better, then this is forming your reality. You understand? And that's
Mhm.
why we are so important. You understand? That's why we have to be there to say, you know what? No, son, no, young lady, that's not real. You
Right.
understand? Or you know what? I don't know if it's real either. This is what I do now. If I don't know it's real, but what I
Mhm.
don't do is just go off the top and just respond to it like it is automatically. You see, and
Yeah.
so that's a big thing. That's going to make a big difference, for humanity as we move forward. And so I don't want to beat a dead horse with that OG point, but I
But
hope
it
people.
needs to be it needs to be hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in the '70s in Atlanta?
Well, actually, I was born in New York.
Okay.
So I came to Atlanta in
You're
91.
like my girl Simone. She was born in New York and she lives in Atlanta now. She
Yeah.
runs a personal chef company.
Okay.
So if you
Yeah.
ever get hungry, let me know. I got some people out there.
I'm always hungry, man. I'm gonna ask, make the recommendation for real. But yeah, I was born in the 70s, so in New York. So I was born in 73. So the year New York, when the year hip hop was born, I
Yeah.
was born with that. And so I take great pride in that. You're close to, you may not be exact, or you might be. You 73 or you 72?
72. Yep.
Okay, all right. All right. So I'm 73. What I mean by that is to say that I was birthed at the very same time when this entity was forming, right?
Yeah.
And I pride myself on that because every step of the way, every aspect, every iteration, every development, I'm a beneficiary of. You
Mhm.
understand? And that's why I say, and of course, you 72, same thing. The point is, people like you and I are beneficiaries of the development of uh, a culture that's based on taking nothing and turning it into something,
Yep.
right? That's based on and that reflected what was happening in a part of society that may have been marginalized, and we took it together, all of us, we took it and turned it into something powerful and transformative that's respected worldwide. And then we also learned how to monetize it. And so even what I do with Black Lion and Cubs as a result of that, I've seen not just being an artist, but then
Mhm.
also saying, how can I be an owner in this space? How can I be a creator? How
Yeah.
can I be, all those things? That's hip
Own
hop.
your masters.
There it is, right? There you go. So I don't know how we got into that, but I'm from New York, and I
Okay.
moved to Atlanta to go to college. So
Okay.
mhm.
Was it how similar was Atlanta
Mm,
to New York?
very different, man. It was a
Yeah.
well, it took a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Um, I remember distinctly one unique experience was uh, as I was leaving New York. I remember walking to the library. And yeah, we used to walk to libraries, right? I was walking to the library. Library was the hangout
In
where
the
I'm from,
snow,
right?
uphill both ways.
So I was going to the library and I saw this dude. You know what I'm saying? Now in New York, at least in the '80s, late '80s, you don't greet each other in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If somebody greets you in the street, what's up, then you know it's a problem, right? So he had one of us said what's up to the other. And I remember turning around having to watch my back, right? Thinking I had to watch my back because he said what's up to me. You know what I'm saying? So I turned back, because I had to be on guard. That's in New York. I came to Atlanta and people, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're greeting, and
They're
I
actually being
remember
friendly.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and I wasn't used to people just really just greeting you on the street, especially men, and that just being as they call the Southern hospitality. So that was a big cultural shift for me. The language, or the accent. I remember because I'm a former teacher. I remember early in the my career having a hard time understanding what the kids were saying because of their accent, And so that was a learning curve too.
What did you go to college for?
Education. So I had an early childhood a degree in early childhood education. I was a elementary school teacher.
Nice.
Mhm.
You might be the first perfect person to ask this. I don't even know really what I'm trying to ask. I'm trying to figure out why the hell they took Schoolhouse Rock off of TV.
Brother, I don't know, man. So that being, first of all, I used to love Schoolhouse Rock like everybody
Same.
did. I think it did a great service for our country, right? Um, I'm part of a network called Black Education Station, right? BES is an app. Black Education Station it's a download. It's like PBS Kids, but all Black. All the content created by
Oh,
Black
cool.
educators and experts for young children ages 0 to 10. I bring that up to say that part of the reason why I'm part of Black Education Station is because I understand that we cannot rely on the government or corporate entities to do what's in the best interest of our children,
Say it
especially
again
if you're
for the people
especially
in
if
the
you're a
back.
minority. That's right. Especially if Black, Latino, whatever. These people are cannibals, man. Some of these people,
Yeah.
they'll eat their own. They don't care about their own, not to mention us,
Not
right?
even eat their own, they'll leave their own.
Yes. Yo,
That's what
son,
they do.
man, it's so so that being said, because I know that we cannot rely on the government or corporate entities to do what's in the best interest of people, of human beings, not to mention people who look like me.
Mhm.
Uh, I believe that is the removal of Schoolhouse Rock is an example of that. The removal of Reading Rainbow, which they recently,
Mhm.
are trying to bring back. And then recently, I heard that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has decided to dissolve. Like as
Mhm.
of yesterday, they decided to dissolve because they know what I know. It's either ownership or a slave ship, man. It's
Yep.
either ownership or a slave ship.
I've heard you
And
say that in
yeah,
different speeches, and every time I'm like, "You people, these are words that people need to listen to and to hear, because you are correct. These folks ain't gonna give you nothing.
mm-mm.
Nothing."
And if they do, I'd be very wary of it, like our Native American brothers and sisters
Yeah,
needed to be
baby.
with those.
Yeah, baby.
You understand, with the blankets. You understand.
Yep.
So, look, it's just and this is not no slight. It's just if a bear is a bear, you don't treat
Mhm.
it like it's it's friendly. You know
Because
what
exactly. Don't let the fact that you got a teddy bear at the house
I'm saying?
influence you into getting eaten up.
That's right. That's right. So you got to act accordingly. A snake is a snake, man. It's a venomous snake.
Yeah.
That's its nature. That's what it does.
Yep.
So you act accordingly.
Yep. 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 All right. So then you made it to Atlanta.
Yep.
Um, what was your have you always been creative? Let me ask you that first before I
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm the consummate creative entrepreneur. I've
Yeah.
been creative all my life from the days of drawing. I used to be an artist. I used to draw. I remember I created a comic book. My first hero was called the Weasel. You know what I'm saying? His name was the Weasel, and he's kind of like Wolverine,
Yeah.
But so in any case, I've always been drawing. Just creative, expressing myself. And again, I'm from New York, so a lot of my I used to do like graffiti, not on the walls, but on paper. And
Hmm.
so I used to rap, So again, I just like Andre 3000 said, man, I've always had something to say, and I've always been uh, curious and explorative enough to check out all the different ways to say it. You
Hmm.
understand? And
Hmm.
so my life and my journey as a creative entrepreneur is just a testament to that. It's someone that had something to say, that was bold enough and curious and adventurous enough to try it,
Yeah.
and decide that I wanted to monetize it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started.
And
Go ahead.
that's the important part. We can get into it a little bit more, but that's the important part that creative people need to get used to doing. Stop doing things on favors and because you're a nice person, all that stuff. Boy, I tried to buy a sandwich with favors and nice guy, and it just
Ah,
doesn't work that
it
way.
doesn't work, man.
It's crazy.
And yeah, you have to, again, people. I could talk to you about this for days, man. People devalue themselves
Mhm.
again because they lack confidence. Like
And those folks with the money that don't give you anything, they will convince you that you're not worth the money that you're worth.
exactly, exactly. So confidence is big. Like I know we're this is a conversation for about creativity and such, but uh, it requires confidence, man.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna do anything significant with one's life, it requires enough belief in yourself that you're deserving and worthy of success and the blessings that are available to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like how that sounds. Let's go back to 2004.
All right.
A little bit before 2004, you decided to work on a film.
Yes.
How did
Now,
that come about?
so like I said, so I came down to Morehouse in '91. I was a part of the Freaknik years in Atlanta, all the top years that everyone reminisces on. And when it comes to Atlanta, I was a part of that flight. Your friend knows this. Like your friend was either a part of that or came down because of what I was a part of. And like there in
Mhm.
Atlanta, this is a mecca now for Black people, for entrepreneurs, for people that have
Mm.
money, for people that are enterprising, work coming from
Mhm.
all around the country to be in Atlanta, people that want to get educated because we have the AUC here. So there was a big migration to Atlanta, particularly from Black people. And so I was a part of that movement. We were in the music industry. I started my own label and was just trying out selling from cassettes to CDs, right? Selling CDs out the trunk, learning how to sell what I create. And I am looking around me and I see, wow, Atlanta is really popping. Like, like the models are coming down here, the record labels are down here. People now have these cameras and we're starting to film and make music videos, right?
Mhm.
That's really what started because now I'm a music artist. The next step for a music artist, if you wanted to be big time, you had to have a music video.
Mhm.
So again, it was hard for me to find people to, see my vision. I had somebody, do a video for me. It came out pretty good, but again, I'm a creative person too. I have my own vision. So I bought my own camera. We did another video. And I said, man, I could do more with this camera because I'm seeing I'm seeing what's going on here in the city. This is phenomenal. I need to record what's happening. So my
Mhm.
first film was a documentary called Independent Doing Major Things. It was a documentary basically to speak to the spirit of who we were in Atlanta. We were independent, but we were doing things on a major level. And I was covering in that documentary the different aspects of the worlds I was a part of, the music industry, the upcoming film industry, the modeling industry, all of this culture that we were building, the entrepreneurial bubble that was occurring. So I took the camera, me and Wes Walters, we came out, hit the streets, and he followed me with the camera, and we made that documentary. And that documentary changed everything for me, man. That
Hell
that
yeah.
was that was it. That was it.
How did you get it distributed, or how were people able to watch it?
This is before social media. Um, I was in these streets, man. Like I was, they look,
Hustling.
They used to call me Hustle Simmons, man. That was the joke. Everybody called me Hustle Simmons. I'm hustling, right? And that's what led to the book, The Hustler's 10 Commandments, is because people were calling me Hustle Simmons because I'm in the music industry, but I'm out there hustling, doing things, passing out these flyers, and word just started getting around. Like, we passed out tens of thousands of flyers about this film, and it created opportunity for us to speak at film festivals. We were invited, to be at film festivals, and that's where things started changing for me. Because again, I really made the film so that I could showcase my music. I told you I'm a music producer, so I was trying to find a creative way to showcase my music. I said, let me do it in a film format instead of on a CD format. But throughout that process, what I learned is, one, my vision is bigger than music. I have a skill set because of what I was doing in music. I have developed a skill set that people appreciate, that hustler's spirit. People like that about me. Like, that's what people were resonating with. I was out there just getting it. They're like, "Ooh, go!" They're cheering me on. Like, "Go, Hotep!" I want to be like that. So I learned that, and then 3, I learned that after each film festival, the Q&A section was my favorite section of the whole experience. I liked sitting down, being asked questions, and articulating my thoughts and ideas, and hearing it resonate with people. So that's when I started realizing that I can do things differently. The music for me was just the beginning. You understand? And that's when I started saying, hey, I can try it this way. I can, express myself that way. And that's when I got really more adventurous with my creativity.
That's a little bit. I feel like I'm talking to myself because I'm like that too. I don't sit still. If it's a comic book, if it's a movie, if it's a song, if it's a whatever, it's if I see it as a learning opportunity, I almost never say no. Almost never say no. And sometimes I might get myself into some trouble, but I'd never say no. And then the cool thing about, what I'm assuming your brain is like your feet keep moving, and then every once in a while you look over your shoulder, you're like, wow, I did all that. Wow.
Yes. Like, if you don't already, you should do a timeline of your creations, man. I did this thing. I created a timeline from like 1995 of all my creations, man. I'm like, wow, I have a phenomenal. Like, listen, I'm not joking, my brother. There's very few people in this world that can mess with me. I'm serious. I don't care if you Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have amassed an incredible catalog of work over these last 25, 30 years in so many different industries. Like, I have albums, man. I have books. I have over 30 books, man. I've got video games. I've got animations. I've got a plushie toy coming out. Like, I have card games. Man, listen, and again, to your point, you said it in a different way. You don't, ever say no. For me, it's when I create, like with Black Lion and Cubs, once I created this story and these characters, I almost never say no to the possibility of expressing them in a different medium. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see these as VTubers. I don't even know what a VTuber is, but I learned about VTube. I said, well, let me do these VTubers with my characters, or let me do nursery rhymes with my characters for kids. Let me do something more adult. Let me do a card game. I promise you, at the beginning of November, I was at a con here in Atlanta called DreamHack for my video game, for one of my video games. At this con, across from me, I saw somebody with a card game. I said, I should probably create a card game. You understand? It's the idea. I said, hey, what would my characters look like in a card game? Next month. It
doesn't seem like it. If you did it, I'm almost positive I can do it.
Absolutely. And that's the confidence, right? And I thought it'd be cool. I said, it'd be cool. How cool would it be to have a card game? 1 month, Carlos. In 1 month, I had that card game developed. It's off to my my manufacturer, and we're going through the proofs right now. In fact, where's the proof? I got a proof somewhere. Is it right here? Here it is, right here.
Look at.
I'll show you right here.
My man. Hell yeah.
It's called Nights Over Egypt.
You did the art?
I know. So I have artists. I have different artists that do the art for me. but I'm the designer, so I
Sure.
design these things. You know what I'm saying? So then
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
back. That's the back right there. So
What's the elevator pitch for that game?
I haven't created the elevator pitch yet. I'm still working on how I'm going to market it, but right now, the whole Nights Over Egypt. Do you remember the song from back in the day? There was a Nights Over Egypt song, so I already have an idea for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I developed the game in weeks, man. It just took a couple weeks. I have so much art. So talking about Black Lion and Cubs again, part of my approach to the development of this brand was to stockpile huge amounts of
Yeah.
artwork. So I have my characters expressed in so many different ways from so many different artists. One, because I'm a fan of art, but
Mhm.
then two, again, to your point, I never say no. So if I see an artist whose style I like, my curiosity peaks. I say, I wonder what my characters would look like in your style. Hey, would you know? And so
Yeah.
and I want to see it in your style. Some styles I like, some styles I don't like. It's all trial and measure. You
Yeah.
see, but that's helpful for me because um, now I have my characters, these last 2 years, because the way my characters look like in the beginning isn't how they look 2.5 years later,
Right.
right? I made some changes and adjustments because I've seen them expressed so many different ways. I can see what I like more of and less of, and whittle it down to a more refined vision.
And I think that actually that's something that I have learned to do is to
Mm,
take my time, especially when these iPads with the Apple Pencil coming out. I was just drawing and just throwing things out there, drawing and throwing things out there.
mm,
Instead of drawing, just, sit on it a little bit, draw a little bit more, adjust it a little bit more, like actually work through it to
mm,
make it look like something that would be attractive to to people that like illustrations and stuff like that.
mm,
And I think that's one of the steps that all of this technology stuff is affecting is artists being able to take the time to just put something down, walk away,
yes,
you know?
Doc. And the sad thing is, this is what I told my cousin when I had this conversation over the holidays. What we know to be true and is important, it's hard to explain that. I told him basically what you said there is absolutely true, but no one's gonna care. You see what I'm
Nobody
saying? Like no
cares.
one's gonna care that you're about the going through the process. In fact, in
Right.
their mind, they're gonna be like, "Why would I go through such a hard task when I can get it done like that? Why would I subject myself?" That's what the man was saying about the book. He's like, "Yo,
Yeah.
boys are growing up. Like, why would I embarrass myself talking to a girl who doesn't like me when I have this AI that automatically loves me?" You understand? Like, so that's the question our young people are asking, that we have to come up with a good answer for. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I go through that
Right.
process? Like, it takes longer.
And you
It's
gotta have game is not a good enough.
exactly right. Like, what's that game? Exactly. But you and I know, like, that game is important. That's how we get.
Yeah.
That's how we get our way in other facets of our lives. You see what I'm saying?
100%. Let me tell you like this. If you can talk to a woman cold turkey, you can make sales.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And vice versa. And
Yeah.
vice versa. And see, the thing is, again, even with sales, they ain't gonna learn no sales techniques, because all they do is go, run ads and just do, what I'm saying, run like, again, everything is the
Yeah.
technology doing it for you. So you don't
Yeah.
really develop, there's no need for humans to develop some of these skills that you and I have, that we know is why we're built different. Like, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, every
Mhm.
you and I know, and a person a human being that's able to have the vantage point of seeing both, you will
Mhm.
see the real competency and see, like, wow, that's a whole person. That right there is a shell of a person. You
Mhm.
understand? They might look good on IG and TikTok and all that, but that's a shell of a person. Because if you put us toe to toe, neck and neck, and right next to each other, it's a world of a difference. And
Mhm.
so, again, I, I don't know where the future is taking us with that, but it's going to be unfortunate for a lot of people.
I my tendency or my thoughts are um that it's democratizing people's ability to make money,
Mm,
right? You and I almost you and I might want to work for Disney, but if they don't have any seats available, we're not going to get there. And if we did get there, we're going to be working on whatever stories they want us to tell.
mm,
So now for us, folks like us, boy, when YouTube came around and I was like, I can do whatever, well, almost whatever I want
mm,
and just get, man, I've been creating videos and just, and again, it's one of those things where I'm creating videos, but I'm learning. I've learned um like color correction.
mm, mm.
Like editing is editing.
Yes,
You
sir.
can make things look cool, but
Yeah.
like you can make things flow cool, but if your color grading is whack, there's no coming back.
And listen, that's why sometimes you got to use some of them tricks, like, hey, just make this scene black and white. You understand? Yeah,
Yeah,
special effect. You know what I'm saying? Make it
there's
black
a
and white.
flashback.
There you go. It's a flashback. See? That's that OG wisdom, though. A lot of people don't know about that. That's how you do it. That's how you make a way through
Yeah,
that.
there's some old school techniques that I still leverage to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um. So how'd you do? We were talking about your movie.
Yeah.
It,
So
it
I
felt
had
pretty good to get done with it. How
it
were
did.
you
It did
pleased
because
with what it yielded?
it did a lot more than I expected. I
That's
like with
great
everything.
news.
When I enter an industry, I always enter respectfully. I
Yep.
bought my own ticket, flew over to Hollywood in like 2003, 2002. Um, and I knocked on doors. I had to open up had to use a whatchamacallit, what is it called, MapQuest and a yellow
Oh,
book,
we
and
talked about
and pro-
MapQuest last night.
knocked on doors and asking people, if they making phone calls, would you produce my film for me? No one would do it. I bought the
Hmm.
XL2. It's like the Canon XL2 camera, or is it GL1? If it's a GL1 camera, and I went to work. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a first time filmmaker. I'm not a stud. I'm not learned in filmmaking. I
Sure.
just have a vision and a story I want to tell.
Yep.
We did that film, and the response was amazing. I was on tour around the country. People asking, to play the film. I'm getting standing ovations, and then people are asking me about these 10 things that I put at the end of the film. I called them the Hustler's 10 Commandments. It was just 10 principles that I live by. That I said, listen, if you do this, your life's you're gonna be successful. And so at the end of every screening of the film, people would ask me about the Hustler's 10 Commandments. In one of my Q&A sessions, there was a well-known author named Omar Tyree. And he said, Hotep, man, you should write a book about those Hustlers 10, man. People were asking you about it. He said, you should write a book. I said, man, I would never write a book, man. Who would write a book? That sounds ridiculous. I said, people don't read, man. Here I am 30 books later, Hustlers 10 Commandments celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Yes,
To this
sir.
day, it's still my number one selling book, man.
Yeah.
To this day.
Out of
Yeah.
all those 30 books, are they all like story books? Are they like
No,
hustling related?
so the first three, the Trinity I call them, is the Hustler's 10 Commandments, Hustle While You Work, and the Hustler's Gospel. Those make up what I call the Hustler's Bible, which I'll be re-releasing this year for the 20th anniversary.
Nice.
So the first few books, so I had a book called How to Sell Water to a Whale, book on sales. I had a book called Brand Your Swag, about personal branding. So this was the space that I was in for many years. And then I got tired of working with entrepreneurs because I felt like people were just wasting my time. And I just felt like it wasn't worth it for me. So I
Mm,
stopped doing the entrepreneur author coaching thing and started focusing on working in schools. So I have my own consulting business.
mm.
But then I became a father, man. And that's when Black Lion and Cubs came about, man.
Yeah,
Fatherhood changed my life, man. I love
yeah.
being a father. Yeah.
And that's the basis of the book or of
With
the comic?
with Black Lion and Cubs, it's centered
Yeah.
around a father and his two sons. So the
Nice.
whole story is basically, it all started because I wanted to do something cool for my boys, and they were getting exposed to um, anime through my niece, and then also I was introducing them to Voltron, Transformers, Thundercats,
Nice.
all that stuff, the classics. And I saw my boys like that. And again, I'm a creative entrepreneur. I said, "You guys like this? Daddy can do that." You
Yeah.
understand?
Hold my beer.
There it is. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Hold my beer, man. So I just had somebody. It started with me commissioning an artist to draw a picture of me and my boys. I thought it would be cool. All I wanted to do was draw a picture of me and my boys and let it be turn it into a poster for them.
Yeah.
But once I saw it, the juices in my mind started flowing. I said, man, I could do
Of
something with
course.
it. And I said, well, let me see it like this. Let me see it like that. Let me make sure it's culturally, expressive of who we are. Let me make sure the characters look more like us and dress more like us. And so I just started developing it, and boom, here we are, 2.5 years later.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to go back to you being a kid. Tell me about your childhood.
Mm.
Um,
So,
Not just because something tells me that the childhood. Tell me about your childhood, and because I'm trying to put that together with what's happening today
mm.
and how who built you.
Well, like I said, number one, born in the 70s, right? And my parents were two, um, African centered parents. They named me Imhotep. I'm named after the builder of the first pyramids because my parents were very intentional about implanting our culture and history in us from an early age, even through our names. But I'm a child of the 70s, but my wonder years were in the 80s. And you remember the 80s. Like the 80s were the best time in American history. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
pretty sick.
I'd argue
They're
that down
pretty
with
dope.
anybody, right? But partially because of all the things we went through together as a country, right? We already had the 60s, right? We had the flower movement of the 60s. We had the turmoil of the 60s with the civil rights. You know what I'm saying? We had the 70s when we're like, well, what are we going to do as a country? How are we going to define ourselves? We had in New York City, buildings burning in the Bronx. So we came out of all that. There was an energy that in our country that came out of that, and that's why the 80s were so amazing. This a time of creativity, a time of technology and exploration and expression that's never been seen before. And so just like you, I was a part of any aspect of 80s pop culture. Those were my years. So the music and the European invasion, Billy Joel, I know all that, like, listen, Pressure, like, Devo,
Yeah,
just as much as the
because
hip
they didn't
hop.
play stuff on the radio.
There you go. So I'm watching we're watching MTV, the first MTV transmission. You understand? The
Yeah.
first HBO, like cable. What's that? Yeah, they hit those
Yep.
little buttons. We're
Yeah,
seeing
you
this
remember we
technology.
used to flip the switch on the HBO box?
That's right. That's right.
These
So,
people streaming and stuff. Get
they,
out of here. We used to watch HBO uphill both ways.
both ways, both ways. And HBO is it. Like all you had was HBO and MTV. Like those were the only two things you could watch.
Yep.
Anyway, so my point is,
3 other channels.
all the everything that we call nerd culture today, I was a part of. And so the kung fu movies on Saturday mornings,
Oh,
the hip hop
yeah.
music,
Yep.
the video games, the original NES, going from Atari. I remember going from Atari to it was Super Atari or whatever. There's Atari, then they had a higher version of Atari, and then you had Nintendo.
Yeah.
So my point is, DVDs and sneaking to the going to the DVD shop. I mean, not the DVD, the VHS shop to rent movies.
Yeah.
You understand? Like these are all things. So in any case, I say that to say how this reflects on who I am and what I do now is everything that I do, even when you look at Black Lion and Cubs, is an expression of it's like me reliving those days, right? Through this medium that they call anime and manga, right? It's a retro style anime brand. When you listen to the music in a lot of my animation, it should sound like the music in Transformers and Voltron. It should remind you, my video games are all pixelated like the original NES. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
right? And I came up on comics, man. Look, Todd, not even Todd McFarlane, Frank Miller, John Byrne, Arthur Adams, John Romita Jr. You understand? Like I know these names, you understand, because I
Yeah.
was there. I was a fan of the art. So
Yeah.
all these things put together is why when you experience Black Lion and Cubs, you should be reminiscent of this. Even the name Black Lion and Cubs itself is a throwback to this to the 80s, 80s. If you
Hmm.
remember, Frank Miller used to do the intros and the covers for a Japanese manga called Lone Wolf and Cub. Right? It
Mm.
was Lone Wolf and Cub. And I never read any of those books, but I remember Frank Miller drew the covers, and my
Hmm.
father was big into Japanese culture, right? So my
Mm.
father would collect those Lone Wolf and Cub books just so he could have a little something to talk about with his
Hmm.
sons, because he knew one of the artists that we knew,
Yeah.
was doing it. So that's everything there that led to that's leading to this and helping fuel this, in addition
Yeah.
to fatherhood. You see?
Yeah. Yeah. I it- I've met a lot of folks that are like us that don't know how to sit still and they have no fear and they just figure things out. And the majority of them come from even less than what you need
Mm,
to survive. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I wonder, there has to be something about the shortcut to say it is the hip hop community. There has to be something about the hip hop community not having anything and still not giving up, and still that's not good enough. We have to push through and we have to make the thing. And it's not just the thing, we have to make that thing. And now that we're here, we might as well do that thing and that thing and that thing and that thing.
You got great wisdom, Carlos, man, and you're absolutely right. And for me, when people look at me, right, they you know, there's a typical narrative about the black people in this country, right? And then we struggle through poverty and drugs and crime and all that kind of stuff, violence and
Mhm.
such. That is not my story at all. You
Right.
understand? My parents went to college. Both of them graduated college. My parents come from humble beginnings, but they built, and we had a middle class house. Went from Queen to living behind my grandfather's house in Braddock, Pittsburgh at one point, because my father went to school for a second, in Queens, where I was born, and living in a duplex in Queens, to moving out to Long Island. You understand?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
when you in the 80s, like if you go from the city to Long Island, it's like, yo, that's like the Jeffersons. You made it, right? So we had a house in Long Island. I don't come from, like the poor, poverty, crime, don't know my father. I was raised by both my parents.
Yeah.
But to your point, my area of struggle was centered around the fact that despite all those things, I was still an African American
Mhm.
male and very dark skinned. You understand?
Mhm.
So you have all these things, and you understand the nuance of being dark skinned
Mhm.
in this country. So, as much as I had certain advantages, financially and such, if you will, I still had to struggle with the fact that because of what I look like and because of my name and such, people wouldn't give me certain opportunities. You understand?
Mhm.
So that's where the struggle was for me, is the fact that no one's gonna give it to me. I gotta go
Mhm.
out there and get it. You understand?
Mhm.
I gotta go out and get it. And that again came from my parents being very intentional and implanting a seed of confidence in me and my brothers, culturally first, and then just social and emotionally. Say, look, you're great, you're powerful, you're
Mhm.
intelligent, you're worthy, all those things. So when I was in New York and had the first opportunity to get a record deal, and they said, "Nah, we don't like you and what you're presenting," I said, "Well, I'll do it myself then." But
Yeah.
that I could have easily said, "Wow, if they don't like it, oh, woe is me. I'm not good enough. I'll give this up." And I didn't give up my dream. I didn't do any of that because of
Yeah.
the thing, confidence, man, confidence.
Yeah. And if you're the more confidence you have and the more comfortable you are with who you are as a person, when you get presented those opportunities, you're able to say no to Diddy. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Yes, yes, and yeah, man,
Because
that's
there is
perfect
it is
example.
hard. And
Yeah.
if you're in if I'm assuming you're like me. There's sometimes it's just you and it's late and you just have to work because you have this self-imposed deadline.
Yeah, which is yesterday. The
Yeah.
deadline is always yesterday for me,
Yeah.
not today. It's yesterday.
And then someone is going to tell you, "Hey, if you play with this baby oil, it's going to get a lot easier." Hey, you got to be able to be like, "Nah, I'm good."
Doc, you're so right, man. And again, that's people are just taken advantage of in so many different ways,
Yeah.
um, because of because they lack money or because they lack confidence. That's the other thing, right?
Yep.
So lacking money is one thing, lacking confidence is another thing. And when people see this, they'll take advantage of you. And for me, I don't know who said this. I don't know if they were. I think they were saying this about Tupac. They said, or either Tupac said it or someone was saying it about Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, um, it's really bad, or I feel bad for the person who becomes successful pretending to be someone else.
Mm.
He says, because if you become successful pretending to be someone else, you when you look in the mirror, right? When it's just you now and you look into this mirror, you ultimately know a few things. One, that you don't really deserve the success that you have, because these people out here, they don't love you. They love this thing that you built that is not you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of them is the thing is multiplied. You have you're a million, you have millions of fans and followers, and they cheer and praise your name, but it's not you. It's
Mm-hmm.
not you that they praise. It's something else that you built. And then on
Mm-hmm.
the other side, you start to feel like, well, man, if they really knew the true me, will these people love me? They don't even know me. And so that's why for a lot of people that are seemingly successful, you have this condition of depression, because they've built their success on something that isn't them, and they can't escape it anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to your point, that's the reason why authenticity is important. Over the years, I've come to appreciate that, um, when my legacy, when I'm spoke about in the rooms that I speak about, hustle is one of those words that you will always hear. Hotep, just a consummate hustler. But then
Mm-hmm.
number two, a lot of people speak about authenticity and being a genuine person, because for more often than not, no matter where I am, you're going to get the same version of who I am, because I'm proud of who I am. I
Mm-hmm.
like who I am, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't bow down to people that don't like it. You understand? You
Yep.
don't like it, you get out my face. You understand?
Yep.
Or I remove myself from situations where people don't appreciate who I am, so
Yep.
that I can be free to be me. And at the end of the day, my brother, I love that, man. I feel good about
Mm-hmm.
it. I feel real good. Like I sleep good every night.
Yep.
I have great relationships. Like me and you, I could see me and you, we're gonna be building for a long time, Carlos.
I think so.
Yeah. And but my relationships, like if you see the people around me, they've been around for decades, man.
Yeah.
Decades. Because
Yeah.
when you're around someone that's authentic and genuine, you can love them for who they are and who
Mm-hmm.
they are not.
Yep.
And that's a powerful thing. I've been married over 20 years. You see, my whole life is 20 plus years of relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
I've always been myself. And again, I'm only around people that love me for who I am, and I love them. And you'll see, just like you, man, it's a freeing feeling when you can be yourself around another person, man.
100%.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be careful what you say in front of whom because you told what lie when?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Nah,
That's
I'm
the
good.
beautiful. And again, a lot of people, they're gonna miss out on that
Mhm.
opportunity to be authentic and genuine, man,
Yeah,
and be loved for that reason. There's no
100%.
replacement for that, man. There's never a
Nope.
replacement for someone loving you, a real
Yeah.
person loving you for everything you are and everything you are not. You
Mhm.
understand? There ain't no higher, joy in this world.
Mhm. That's what I say to people. I am me in front of Hotep the same way I am in front of my mom.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
seamless.
Yeah.
Now, you might at one point you might get 80% and mom gets like 60% because I'm not trying to get beat no more. But
Right, right. Yeah, I've had to tailor my language, but see, again, that's part of the authenticity. That people know me,
yeah,
like, listen, I have a foul mouth, you understand, but I don't have to curse every time,
Right.
I speak. Like I'm in control of the words that I say.
Mhm.
So my mother recently said, son, why you curse so much? I said, well, Mom, it's just the way I like to talk. I like to let it fly. She said, well, son, I don't like it when you curse. I said, oh, Mom, I didn't know that. I didn't. I said, oh, you got to tell me. Like, again, part of the authenticity for me is I'm not no fair weather friend. You ain't got to just give me, the good news and
Right.
be scared to tell me. I said, Mom, come on. So as soon as she told me, good, I don't curse in front of her. But that don't mean I'm any less than of who I am. You understand?
Exactly.
I'm not any less
Exactly.
than who I am.
You just adjust.
Yeah.
That's all it is. If you have a deck of cards, you don't wanna play poker, fine, let's play spades.
Let's play spades, man. We
To
still
me,
playing.
it ain't no thing.
We still playing. You know what I'm saying? We playing something.
Hey, let me tell you my secret power. I grew up playing spades.
Mm,
And when I was in the military, I saw a couple brothers playing spades, and I was like, "Hey, let me get in." Boy, they underestimated me.
mm,
I love it.
mm.
I love it because I grew up with black folks, but when you just meet me,
Right.
y you know,
You don't know. I mean, look at your
you
name,
don't
man.
know.
You like Carlos Gomez, man. Like you know, there's assumptions, man. We all got the bias, man.
Yeah.
We all got biases, you
So
know.
when I show up and I start playing spades and I start setting people they're catching a case.
Mm. And see, the irony is, I don't know nothing about spades. I went to Morehouse. They showed me spades. I couldn't get spades. I played spades maybe all of 5 times my entire life.
Oh,
My
boy.
entire life. You see,
No.
that's the reason why. That's why authenticity is so important. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because what you start to realize is, as human beings, we're more alike than different. You understand? We're more alike than different, but it's
Mhm.
only through being authentic and genuine that you can really teach that, you can really demonstrate that principle. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So here we are, you from where you're from, you have your name, I have my name. People, we have biases about each other based off our names and the way we look. But look, at the end of the day, hey, we all have individual experiences as human beings, man. And some of us play, some
Mhm.
of us don't play. And it's not what you think it is. We're not Human beings are more this is what it is, man, that people are missing. This is another thing. Human beings are more complex than just a snippet of a video
Mhm.
or just a post, right?
Yep.
And so what's happening is people are being bombarded with snapshots, but they don't know the whole picture.
Right.
Okay? So through social media, you're getting a snapshot, and
Mhm.
people are weighing in. They're commenting on this snapshot. They're
Mhm.
making impressions and decisions based off a snapshot, but they don't know the
And letting the
entire
stranger ruin your day because of
man
this snapshot.
snapshot, right? And then if you saw the whole picture, you like, oh, it wasn't what I thought it was, or that was just a quick little, it's not the whole picture. But now people are being defined, man. People are being
Yeah.
canceled. People are being, you know, raised up and cheered as heroes based off a little snapshot. Don't know that, as soon as that camera was off, this man was beating that woman. Or vice versa. This
Mm.
woman was cursing out this person. You
Mhm.
thought this was relationship goals. Guess what? They're getting a divorce tomorrow. You understand? So it's a snapshot. You don't see the whole picture.
Right.
You know? Mm, mm,
Right.
mm,
That's why I like what we're doing
mm,
and what I changed the well, not change the channel to, but it's just another kind of format is this where we can talk, you know,
mhm,
and actually talk things through and learn from each other. Whereas, you turn on the TV, it's these people yelling at each other and nobody's making any sense. Nobody's solving any problems.
mm,
No
mm,
one's improving anything, and it's it's again going back to this, these snapshots and all this silliness. You need to have these longer conversations going back to borrowing from what we said earlier, like when you're taking the time with your artwork or you're taking the time to develop a song, whatever, take that time to get to know someone
mm,
and network. because any minute now, it's all every man for himself.
Mm. Doc, I'm telling you, that's hustler's commandment number one. Your network is your net worth. You
Yeah,
understand? Your network is your net worth. And
yeah.
so, and that's part of the reason why, again, you can't allow people to be defined or define another person based off of any one singular thing, because as much as I'm a hustler through and through. I'm about my getting my money, seeing
Mhm.
my vision through my vision through fruition. But at the end of the day, I'm a relationship person. It's
Yeah.
through my relationships that I'm able to do that. You understand?
Mhm.
That's my highest principle.
Mhm.
So again, that's the reason why my whole life is everyone around me at least a decade, man. You
Yeah.
understand? Like very few people can say they have relationships with people that long, you know,
Mhm.
positive, long-standing relationships with one person. I've got at least 5 people like that around me. I say that to
Mhm.
say because I pour into my relationships, I value my relationships, I treat
Yeah.
people with dignity. As much as I speak confidently, I'm a very humble individual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, that's the reason why. Man, we ain't talk about the. We ain't talk. Hey, I love this conversation. Just so you know, Carlos, I like where this is going, and if it's good with you, I'm good with it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, we're building up to something.
Okay. Okay. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. No, what were we just talking about? Taking the time to develop the relationships and stuff like that.
yes.
Um, yeah,
Which is you're
and
doing a great job of that, by the way, with this interview, by the way, because even you asking me to go back to my childhood, right,
yeah,
is you giving me the chance to express to your listeners and viewers the wholeness of who I am, right?
right,
Not just the creator of Black Lion and Cubs, but I'm a whole person too. You see?
right.
Mhm.
Because again, it's a snapshot, and but what if you take that snapshot and stretch it out just a little bit more,
There you go.
right?
There you go.
Because we're in a little bit, we're going to talk about your motivational speaking and your being up on stage with Colin Kaepernick and all that
Mm,
stuff.
mm,
But I think it's important to lay the foundation before we even go talking about what we can learn from you. You know what I
mm.
mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I've talked to quite a few people in my life. I can talk to drying paint, and when you're asking questions, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell who's legit and who's in it for the likes, you know? And so that's why I like to talk to people and get a good idea of who they are and what they're doing. Because in that way, when I go to talk to someone else, like I can be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's a job thing, yeah, I got a guy.
Mm, mm, mm.
Or if someone's looking for a new comic book, oh yeah, check out Black Lion and Cubs, you know. But I can tell the way that you speak, you are very passionate about everything that you do and how everything that you do represents who you are.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
And that is very important. And it's very important if people are going to come and listen to you and try to learn from you. It's important for them to know the path that you've been through, at least a big chunk of it. Because like I've said in this channel, Donald Trump don't know nothing about growing up in the city with black and brown kids. He don't know nothing about that.
Right.
So if he's gonna start a racial sensitivity class, you're gonna be like, wait, this dude, he is just doing it for the money.
Mm, mhm.
And that doing it for the money thing is what can find you in trouble.
Yes, sir.
That's when you find yourself at a Diddy party.
Yes, sir. It's funny you keep bringing them up. Let me tell you something. True story. About 2 years ago, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I am hip hop culture. That's my center, right?
Uh,
So I was telling him. that I my words were, I don't want to be the next. I don't want to be KRS-One. Now, this is what I
Mhm.
said. I don't want to be KRS-One. The context of that was this: like people, I'm well respected. You know what I'm saying? Just in general terms,
Mhm.
because of my pedigree, because of my experience. People know the work I've put in. People know, I'm about getting mine. I'm about strength
Mhm.
and power and education, all those different things. People, I have great respect. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But as not but and as I watch other people in, just in general society, I see people, getting just large sums of money and
Mhm.
opportunity thrown to them that have a fraction of my talent, my skill, my hustle, my passion, all that. And, uh, or I see people that are getting the money but don't, I see people getting the money. So let's talk about hip
Yeah.
hop, for example. You have Diddy. Let's take
Mhm.
Diddy and KRS-One for an
Mhm.
example.
Mhm.
Now I'm notorious. If you caught me in 2004, 2000, people, another nickname. So people call me Hustle Simmons, and in my family they would call me K Diddy. All right, they would call me K Diddy, right? Because just like at the time, P Diddy at that time,
Uh-huh.
my name's K was just a They used to call me K as a nickname in my family, right?
Yeah.
My family would call me K Diddy. Because at that time in 2004, Diddy was everything to the culture, man. He was just
Yeah.
a shining example of, wow, look, he looks good, he speaks well, he's intelligent, he's making money, he's fly, he's just everything, man. And he's getting the money. After 50 Cent came, ironically, Jay-Z and it came Jay-Z and 50 Cent. So after Diddy, there's these guys. So I'm looking at those three, the trifecta of Diddy, Jay-Z, and 50 Cent. I'm like, man, these guys, are running things in hip hop. They're making movies, making money. They look good, all this kind of stuff. I'm a fan of KRS-One,
Mhm.
right? The teacher,
Yep.
right? The teacher who built the temple of hip hop, who did
Yep.
the, self-destruction, you know what I'm saying, started the movement for, anti-violence and all that.
Mhm.
KRS-One, on another side of the spectrum, or a different side of the spectrum, is even to this day just as important to hip hop culture as a Diddy figure was, right?
Mhm.
But in a different way. KRS-One had all the respect.
Mhm.
All those people I mentioned would reference KRS-One as one of their heroes.
Mhm.
Yet and still, KRS-One wasn't getting, as far as I knew at least, right? Publicly, wasn't getting the money, the fame, the opportunities that a
Mhm.
Diddy, 50, and Jay-Z were getting, right?
Right.
So I say all that to say, I'm talking to a friend of mine 2 years ago, and I say, I don't want to be KRS-One. I don't want to be that dude everyone respects and hails, and they'll reference me. So, I read Hotep's book and that, but they getting more money than me. You understand? They
Right.
my son, they my student, but now they eclipsing me in regards to the success and all that. I didn't want to be that dude. I remember telling them that 2 years ago. My, what changes in 2 years? Right? What changes in 2 years? And now here I am looking at it all, and I'm watching the downfall of Diddy and seeing 50 going through whatever, and Jay-Z questions and all that. And I think about it now and I say, you know what? I do want to be KRS-One. Because he's still here. He's clean. He's getting
He's
his money, living
still
his
here,
life. He's still doing it at a high level. And he doesn't
staying
have to
true to
deal with all,
himself.
staying true to himself, man. And so he doesn't deal with things that these guys are dealing with. So it's just so funny how I don't even know how we got to this. But you said something that triggered this whole point about being compromised. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Being
Mhm.
compromised. KRS-One has never been compromised. I
Mhm.
listened to a song he did last year. It reminded me of "You Must Learn," you know what I'm saying, from 1989.
Yeah.
And his breadth of work and his legacy that he will leave is 10 times what any of those dudes will leave.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yep.
And I had to check myself, about where my priorities were at that time to say that statement about KRS-One and, not wanting to be, and now just being able to be recentered right now to say, man, nah, that's what it's about, man.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Right.
Legacy, man.
I will give you there's sometimes that, again, those long days where we're working and it's only us, And I'd be like, man, if Diddy walked in this room right now, I would be like, we might have this conversation because I am tired.
Mm, mm.
But dare I say, well, Diddy wouldn't have been anything if it wasn't for Big.
Mm.
KRS One, his impact on hip hop is for me bigger than anything Diddy ever did. And not just that, he doesn't get KRS-One doesn't give the respect that he's deserved. The people that know give him the respect.
Right,
But the
right.
reason he doesn't have um, that that global awareness, like you were explaining earlier,
Mm.
is because, well, he was one of the first. And in hip hop, there's a shelf age for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
And then nobody's going to listen to you if you're preachy. Nobody's going to try to dance to you telling them what's happening in the hood and stuff like that.
Right.
Even though that music is better,
Right, right.
even though that music is better, and that's unfortunate. But KRS-One is one of those for me. One of those.
He's it. Like, he is, they call, of course they call Rakim the God, but Chris is the God of hip hop. He is the singular entity embodying all elements of the culture, um, intelligence, just being a raw MC that will take your head off on stage and off. I mean, he's everything
And
to
with wisdom.
with wisdom. Like, and I mean, listen, you'll see, like, anybody's watching, so look it up. You asked 50 Cent who his favorite rapper was, it was KRS-One. He says this all the time. It was
Yeah.
KRS-One. He says, and even 50 himself was like, but I didn't want to be preachy because, you see what, anyway, my point is,
Yeah.
there's a compromise that each of us,
Girls don't shake their butts
they
to
don't,
with
yeah, exactly, man. They want PIMP, man. They want the PIMP, you know. In any case, yeah, I just it was an interesting comment to come around 360 after 2 years, thinking about who I didn't want to be, saying now, what, that's exactly what I want, man. I want, especially as a father, man. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I'm a father. I want my children to continue to look at me, always look at me with respect and reverence,
Mhm.
and love, and just imagine being a father and your business is being put out there like this man, and this the way this man's being embarrassed and just shameful. Like, you got, and your kids are looking, you got daughters too, man. Like,
You can name any famous person, and you have to look at their kids and be like, "What are you thinking right now?"
mm,
Almost any, because there's some like Denzel keeps his keeps his business clean,
yeah, yeah,
stuff like that. But like, there's just so many ratchet ass famous people,
yeah,
and the younger generations just look at them and be like, "I want to be ratchet too."
yes. And can you imagine being, like you said, can you imagine being the child of some of these stars, having to go to school and hearing other kids talk about your parents? You understand? Like, that,
Wait for
kids are mean, man. They call, I heard your daddy
wait
was
for
this. I said,
yeah,
man, your
wait
mommy
for
is a
Cardi
hoe.
B's kids to go to school.
Man, come on. Oh man. Or, hey, you're Kim Kardashian's children, and you catch that video that your mom was
Oh,
famous for. You understand? Like, oh,
mhm,
this is how your mom
mhm.
got famous. Oh, like, how does that gonna
It's
destroy?
not a Kanye music video.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This ain't AI either. This is real.
Nope.
This ain't AI. This is your mom,
That
man.
is clapping.
Mm-mm-mm. So,
Yeah, man, like, that's why it's a slippery slope, you know, I lived in Hollywood for a hot second. You see people showing up with a smile on their face, and then a little while later, they look all beat to hell, and you're like, what have you been through?"
nah,
And
you
you're
got
like, hopefully that was your big break because you look tired."
that it's funny. It's funny and sad at the same time, but it's obvious to me that the entertainment community has lived this way and operated this way for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just now being exposed. Because
Mm-hmm.
Weinstein's the one that started all of this. You understand? Harvey
Mm-hmm.
Weinstein, he's the one like 5, 6 years ago that just, not
Mm-hmm.
even like 8 years ago. He
Mm-hmm.
was the one that started. You got Weinstein, now you got Epstein. Like this is the lifestyle. Diddy
Yeah.
was a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Diddy, and I'm surprised 50, is doing what he's doing because 50 is a part of that too. Like I can't believe that 50 is clean. You understand? Because if you're in that space, this is just a question. I don't know, right? It just
Yeah.
seems like if you're the people that are granted the opportunities seem to be the compromised people. You understand?
Yeah.
Uh, then that's the reason why someone like a KRS-One would not be there because he would not
Mm-hmm.
compromise himself to that extent. But it
100. That
seems
is not my market.
exactly. Hey, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I take 100,000. I don't need the mill. Just give me the 100,000 because I just, But it just seems like these are all, like all compromised people. And that's why they have been afforded the opportunities because now that you've done this or behaved this way, now you have the keys to the gate to enter through.
Yeah.
And anybody that doesn't, well, then you're just going to have to stay down here. It just seems like that's the culture. And that's why you're hearing this story over and over again. That's just, that's how they operate. And that's what you
Mm-hmm.
have to do to get down. And if you choose to, good. And if you choose not to, hey,
And that's what's wonderful about the internet on so many different points of just this segment that we're talking about is one, it's social media that had everybody being like, yeah, that happened to me too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then that spills from the Me Too ladies to people were like everything. Like, I'm working at this place, they're treating me like trash. I'm working over there, they treating me like trash. Hey,
Mm,
did you guys know that the water over here is set on fire? Hey, did you know that? You know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
now we're able to see all of these deficiencies that have been happening through, well, for us for 52 and 53 years. We're
Mm-hmm.
able to see, and now we're able to see this pattern, and you're like, okay, we gotta, right? That's social media. And again, the good part of social media is we can take a look at stuff like that, and then we get together like this and we talk about it and we learn. And we now, you know, there's going to be a handful more people that are going to watch this video and be like, yeah, these guys, they're talking about taking my time with my art. What happens if I take my time with my art?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to take their time with their art. They're going to improve. And there you go. And it's not a bad thing.
That's right.
Stop trying to be this is something that I had to fight through going through corporate America the way that I did. I had to teach myself to take my time and to not rush things out, because when
Mm,
you're in corporate America, everything you get it, you work as fast and as hard as you can to get it out the door.
right.
Fast as hard as you can, and you get it out the door. It took me a while, years, to break out of that.
Mm,
And now I'm at the point now where like I've fallen in love with drawing, just the process of drawing. I take my time and I just, I'm starting to, I'm not starting, I cook way fancier now. I'm growing my own ingredients. I'm just
mm.
taking my time and doing things the right way.
Yes, yes. It. I don't remember the exact quote, but it has something to do with the idea that the fun, the secret, the juice of life is in the process, not the actual achievement or
Mhm.
destination.
Mhm.
And I know you know this because like the reason why our feet are always moving is because once you're done, you're like, dang, well, what's next? You know what I'm saying? You're never done. You know what I'm saying? Because and that's what people are going to be missing because the AI it's done. It's
Yeah.
done. So you miss
Yeah.
the process. You miss the fun of going through it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like even talking to a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it's fun if you put your mindset in the right place.
Mhm.
It's a game. It's fun. Like you know what? Let me see. Let me try it this way. Let me try it
Right.
this way. You understand? Well, let me try it to the next way. It didn't work, but my whole point is that's the process and that's the fun of it all. Because once you have it, it's like, well, you're done, and you kind of like you're just sitting around like, oh, I got it. And that was, what am I gonna do? you
Yep.
know. And so, same way with art. It's that's what you're describing in regards to art is like an analogy for life as a whole, you
Yeah.
know. And that's why I say I use the process called trial and measure. I try things, man. I don't know what it's going to lead to. That's the fun of it. Let me test it out and
Right.
see where it leads to. And some of them I keep, some of them I don't keep. Keeps me young and active. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've told this story. I think it was just earlier this week. I've been on basketball teams that win the championship in whatever league, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the first game more than the championship game for this very reason. I
Mm,
love the process. I love, and especially something like a basketball where I like to figure out different people's tendencies and stuff. And oh, you hit the shot over there more times than not. So when the game is on the line, if you're standing over there, I'm gonna get you the ball.
mm-hmm.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you win the championship and everybody's like, "Yay!" and you're like, that's it, you know?
Yeah, it's done. It's so finite. That's what it is. Like when you win, you're done. It's over. It's basically over. You
Yeah,
understand? Because it's done. Like
yeah,
mission accomplished. And we always have to take the time to pat ourselves on the back. But
yeah.
people like you and I, that's a quick pat on the back. Hey, all right, what am I gonna do next now? What's the next game? What's the next season? What's the next sport? Hey, I
That's
need
it.
something else to do. That's how I'm built. That's how I'm built.
So how did you end up on stage with Colin Kaepernick?
Shoot. Hustler's commandment number one: your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Somebody, a principal of a school that I used to consult for, um, had the opportunity to sit on the board or a team of people that were making decisions about who was going to speak at this conference. And because he and I had this relationship, and again, I told you I'm a relationship person. Like people,
Mhm.
I hope they listen to what we're saying here because this gems, man. Like we're giving away, so much. So in any case, that man in that setting had an opportunity in a different setting to sit on a board and determine who's going to speak on the stage. And he thought about me because we have a good relationship, and so he put my name in the hat. And again, because of my reputation, you see, my reputation and the respect that people have for me, when they looked me up, they saw it solid and strong, and it was perfect for what they wanted to, the message that they wanted to convey at this conference.
Mhm.
So he called me, and the truth is, I didn't believe him, right? Because I've spoken all around the country, large audiences and small, but I've never been like the celebrity, like associated with the celebrityism at all.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so when he mentioned, that I'd be sitting on the stage with Colin Kaepernick, I'm like, nah, I don't think, like, I don't believe it's gonna be like what you're saying. Like, he might be in a different part of the room or something like that, but I didn't know
Yeah.
it was gonna be like this. And again, and it was this principal's first time on this board, so I didn't think he had enough juice to make that happen for me. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is me. This is the lack of confidence, right? Lack of belief on my side.
Yeah.
But always move with faith, right? He told me it is, and I'm gonna move forward with it. So I got to the conference, and I'm like, and I see my name in the book. I see my face on the stage. I'm like, yo, this is really like I'm really there. They really have me there with this man, just the two of us.
How was
And
that seeing your face nice and big on this stage?
man, I took a lot. I took a lot of pictures, man. I didn't post all of them, but I took a lot of pictures, man. I'm gonna keep. That's gonna be. I have some great pictures. I mean, it looked really good, man. Like I'm on the big stage, and there's Hotep there, and I'm just like, wow. It was a big deal, and from what people said, I kind of showed Colin Kaepernick up too on stage. You
You
know,
got him?
oh, yeah, I got him, and that's because, look. And this is why I say start where you are strong, right?
Yeah.
Because all of us have genius in a different capacity in different places in our life.
100%.
So
100%.
if I'm on the football field and I want to play quarterback, Colin Kaepernick got that. You understand what I'm saying? That
100%.
got that. He that's
All
what he
due
does.
respect to you, Hotep, but I picked Colin.
Like, there you go. You should. I would pick Colin over me too. Okay. So but that's his area of genius,
Yeah.
right? But you take Colin Kaepernick and you put him on a stage, right, in front of educators to talk about education.
Mhm.
I'm dunking on his head like Jordan. You
It's time to
understand?
eat.
That's and it's no disrespect to him. They said,
Yeah.
but this is my zone.
This
This
is
is
what
what
I
I do.
do.
This is what
Yep.
I do. You understand? So, and I showed that. You understand? I
Yeah.
showed that. And so and I'm proud of that too, because it gave me the opportunity, one, to be on stage with a celebrity,
Mhm.
right? And a person that a lot of people respect,
Mhm.
and you know, outperform him in that space and regard. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's done a lot for me. I have a lot of opportunities are coming my way as a result of that conference.
Excellent. What
Mhm.
was that conference about?
It's NABSE. NABSE is a acronym for National Association of Black School Educators.
Okay.
So I was speaking for that organization. Mhm.
Yeah. Have you been in a classroom where they're dealing with AI and all that stuff yet?
I have not. I
No.
have not. No, sir. I am.
I have a
Mhm.
I ask because I have a cousin. Well, I come from a long line of teachers and doctors, and I'm the moron that went and got into making movies and stuff. But I have some cousins that are teachers, and they're explaining to me some of the challenges that they're bumping into with Chat GPT and all that stuff. So I'm always I always take advantage of being able to ask educators their feelings on all this stuff that's happening because it's just unfortunately folks are looking at it as almost like a cheat code, um but it's helping them get to the final point by letting the thing do the work instead of using it as a tool and helping you get to that point.
So to your point, I don't teach. I haven't been a teacher, classroom teacher since 2010.
Mhm,
But I'm very aware of the impact of AI and what it's having, the impact it's having on children
mhm,
and teaching right now. And that's exactly the way you described it is exactly what's happening. Children are able to utilize this technology to accomplish a certain objective and goal. It's available to them and they're learning how to use it to get the said goal. So therefore, the question that they ask themselves every day is, why do I have to learn from you? Why do I have to take time out of my day to sit here and learn from you something that I can just tell this entity to do for me and get it done?
mhm,
Why should I sit here and listen to you about, these steps
mhm,
about getting it done when the step for me is ABC, press enter, done, or press send, done. All this other stuff you're talking about is just ridiculous and wasteful.
mhm.
In fact, so that's
Until the lights go out.
exactly right. And a lot of our kids haven't seen the lights go out, right?
Right.
So again, that's the challenge. How do you convince a person that they should go through the hardship, the time, the investment of time and or money now, right?
Mhm,
To learn about the steps it takes to get to something when they can just get the something.
mhm.
How do you convince a child, right? We're not talking about adults right now. We're not talking about people that have their brains fully formed. How do you convince that to a child who doesn't give a what about all those steps and the difficult? They don't care. You understand? And
It
that's
does,
the
yeah.
challenge. That's the challenge that educators have. God bless them. And that's the challenge that we have as parents as well.
Mhm.
You see? And that's the danger of it, is that we don't have the answer yet. You know what I'm saying? We
Right,
don't have we don't have a good answer for to explain to a child why they
right,
should go through all of this work to get something when they can just get the something,
right.
right? It's almost as if I would the analogy is, you know what? It's like talking to a farmer, and the farmer is saying, listen, you have to take the seed, plant the seed, water the seed, till the soil. I'm like, man, get the
And wait.
exact and wait, right? This thing, man, get out my face. I'm going down the street to the grocery store. I'll buy that for 5.99 a
Yeah.
pound.
Yep.
You see?
7-Eleven is right there.
Right there. And so if you can we can appreciate that, right? We know like
Yeah.
we ain't gonna take okay. So how do you explain that to a child now when it comes to learning ABCs and one, two, threes and
Yeah.
formulating, learning, the sounds of letters and
I
phrases
before
and all.
E except after
Exactly. Who
C.
cares? Come on, don't matter. I don't need to correct anything.
Spell check is right there.
There it is. I don't need punctuation. Who cares? Grammar? No, no way. I don't care. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean so again, that's it right there, my brother. That's the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. If there was a way to get kids and people in general, um, addicted is probably a strong word, but addicted to learning, for
Yeah.
example, I'm a flex a little bit. I got a couple lemon trees and an olive tree and a couple blueberry bushes and blah blah blah. When I'm telling you I am country, I'm telling you I am
Mhm.
country.
Mm,
um Right now, I'm doing an experiment where I took a baggie and I put some soil in the baggie and I wrapped it around the branch because I want to grow another tree from one of my trees
mhm,
just to see if I can do it. Just to see if I can do it
mm.
because of the learning of what a tree is and how to grow trees and how to grow fruit and all that stuff. There needs to be a way to get people tapped into that, into the nosy part of your brain,
Yeah,
the exploratory part of your brain,
that's right.
and
The
then that way
curiosity, the
yeah,
curiosity. You see?
because exactly like making a film, writing 30 books, doing all these things, like, you have to be nosy, you have to
Yeah.
be curious.
That's right. That's right. And you're right. Now that we're talking about it here, we're arriving at something or part of the solution, right? Or at least the way, how to do it. Or, it's like the how to do it and then the what to do, right? Two different
Mhm.
things, right? So we know the why. And the question is the how. How do we do it, right? And what do we do? But we're getting there closer, right? Like when you can instill a love of learning,
Mhm.
and exploration, the confidence to explore,
Mhm.
right? The desire to know and the curiosity. When you can cultivate that in a human being, that's what's going to be, I think, the saving grace in this regard. Children by nature are all those things, right?
Mhm.
Children
Mhm.
by nature are all those things, and that's why we as parents are so important and have to be very intentional about building the confidence, uh, building a love of learning, and helping our children, have a sense of wonder so that they can, just continue to be that way. I look at my children now at 4 and 6; they have it, and I'm trying my best, man, to
Mhm.
help them keep it. You understand?
Mhm.
Even Black Lion and Cubs, this brand. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. If anything, when my time is up, but just being an example here as their father, writing stories and creating characters, and they say, "Hey guys, look, look what I made for you guys. Here's one of our characters. Daddy, I like that." And I say, "Why don't you guys build something out there?" So building with the Legos and taking the
Mhm.
block and creating something. That's creation is a value that I demonstrate and model for my children,
Mhm.
and I hope that they pick it up because it's the process of creation that I think is that the process of creation requires those things that we're talking about. It requires learning, it
Mhm.
requires exploring, it
Mhm.
requires curiosity. You
Mhm.
understand? When you're creating, when you're innovating, when you're producing, and that's what I want my children to, to develop and build over the years.
Yep. I have a nephew that's probably, what is he, about 7 or 8 now? And, uh, we have different family functions, and we'll go camping, and we do all kinds of stuff. Well, when we're hanging out, he wants to do something that's in the gray area of getting yelled at, right?
Mm,
And I have to do the calculation. How much of this am I gonna get yelled at if we do this? But what's the W that we're about to catch,
mm,
right? And so my excuse is always, if he says, "Can I throw this in the fire? Can I throw this in the water? What happens if we do this?" And I do that quick calculation, and then I say, "Hey, for science." And that's our code word for some stuff that we might get yelled at. So we have to
Yes.
get our story straight.
Hey, brother, I'm stealing that right there. I'm stealing that. Like even I have to talk to my own wife about this because, at least my oldest, he's very inquisitive. His mind is just phenomenal. I love listening to him try and process things and ask questions, right? Because
Mhm.
asking questions is a sign of intelligence, right? And so, but some people don't understand that
Right.
asking questions is a sign of literally a sign of intelligence.
Yep.
Some people mistake it for a sign of ignorance, and then other people just want to be dismissive of people that ask questions. And my wife sometimes is dismissive of my eldest when he's asking questions. She's like, "Oh, you're bothering me," stuff like that. I say, "Mom,
Mhm.
don't do that. You understand? Don't do that." Like our son is inquisitive. He wants to know. He's not being disrespectful by asking these questions. His mind is like, well, trying to put things together,
Mhm.
and you can help his mind put things together,
Feed
or
that, yeah.
you know what I'm saying, or you can have him go on Chat GPT and ask someone else or ask these fools for it. So, but his
Mhm.
mind is wondering. So, it's a beautiful thing to see, and it's important for us as parents and adults to cultivate that curiosity. And
Right.
even with your nephews, like, well, what will happen if I do it? Well, let's test it out. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Let's
test it out.
see.
Test it out.
I'm
Science.
your safety zone. I'm your safety zone. Don't be
Yes.
doing this stupid stuff by yourself.
Right.
Come and get me.
Right. Come and get. I'm with you.
And
I'm
that's
with
that.
you. That's what you
Yeah.
want, because if they
I
because they
want them
don't
to
do
understand I got that crazy streak.
that. But they need that. Hey, go, Doc. I'm telling you, man. You're doing a great service for your nephew, man. Because too many children don't grow up with someone like that.
Yeah.
And so they test these things out in the wrong environments. They test it
Right.
out on their own, or they
Right.
test it out with these fools, their friends that
Yep.
don't know any better. And they,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And these bad situations occur. You understand?
Mhm.
So the fact is your nephew is going to be good because of you, man. I'm telling you right now.
I
You
hope
need to,
so. I appreciate that. I'm
yeah,
gonna
I'm
I'm gonna
telling you.
tell his mom that.
Tell his mom, let her just play this part of the episode, man, and let her know this is coming from an educator. Like
Like, look, we're trial and measuring.
yeah,
We've been going for about 2 hours. I wanna start bringing this plane in for a landing,
okay,
but I wanna get a thorough, explanation of your passion and of what is Black Lion and Cubs.
okay. You ask me the questions, I answer to help guide me because I can go. I talk, man. That's what I do, man.
No.
So yeah,
So you started Black Lion, for your kids because you were reflecting on your relationship with your kids, yeah?
right. Yes. Um, in short, 2.5 years ago. This is our third year in 2023, February of 2023. I was um struck with the idea to have a picture drawn of myself and my sons as anime superheroes.
Yeah.
Um, I hired somebody to do that. The picture looked pretty cool, and it just sparked an idea in my head that because my children like to see themselves in a powerful way, that I could build off of it.
Mhm.
And so that's what led to me looking at these three characters, the father and his two sons, and figuring out ultimately what would be a cool story to tell around these
Mhm.
characters.
Mhm.
What is a cool environment to put them in?
Mhm.
What would be some cool outfits to dress them in?
Mhm.
How would I explain their relationship? What powers would I give them? This is all that building,
That's
right?
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. World building and all
This
that.
is
Yeah,
world building. I'm building a world. All I had was an image of a father and his two sons, which
yeah.
represented myself and my boys. What world can I build around these characters? And then once I decide that, how would I express this story? So I started with animation because um, I entering this industry, I wanted to step into a space that would separate me from the average person. I
Hmm.
know animation takes a lot longer and costs a lot more. It's a higher point of entry from the average person. So I opted to go there so that when I jumped into the space, people would treat me like a real player, like, yo, this guy's working on the animation, as opposed to him just working on another book. Because I've
Hmm.
already done lots of books, and it's no
Sure.
slight to comics, because I got comics too. But when you say animation, people's eyebrows go like, you got a
Hmm.
cartoon, like same thing with video games. So I quickly, because of my history as a independent creative, opted to approach Black Lion and Cubs as the development of an anime brand, not as an anime itself, but as a brand that is in this space. And
Okay.
so that's the reason why, as soon as I just developed my first story, which was called Valley of the Kings, I decided that I was going to tell that story in animation. I'm going to tell that story as a video game, and I'm going to tell that story as a comic book.
Mm.
So simultaneously, my first story, Valley of the Kings, was being worked on as all three, but
Yeah.
I was promoting the animation first because I knew people would treat me with a little bit more reverence. The fact that, because I was working on animation. So year one was all about the development of Valley of the Kings in those three formats: video game, animation, and graphic novel format. And that process went well, and I said, well, let me tell another story. So I told a second story, and again, same three formats: video game, animation, and a comic book. And as those things started happening and people started seeing it, who is this guy? And I've never heard of this guy. He's popping out of nowhere. He's doing stuff no one's done before or thought of before. Because even for my animation, I created the soundtrack for it. So I released the soundtrack for the animation at the same time, right? So on when I launched Black Lion Cubs, I went from February to July 17th. Between February and July 17th, I was developing all these things. So by July 17th, I launched the first animation series, or animation, the first video game, and the comic and the soundtrack all in the same day. And that
Yeah.
kind of became a claim to fame. It's like, yo, this guy, is making history by launching these things all on the same day, not crowd
Yeah.
recording. He launched it independently all on the same day. So,
Each one of those branches or each one of those legs to that table is an incredible challenge and an
yes.
incredible accomplishment to do them all and like bring them home on the same day. That's crazy.
Thank you. And it takes someone that has been around a while, that's been around and knows what it takes to
Hmm.
understand how phenomenal that really is. I'm not here to big myself up, but I know the work I put in. Like, I know
Yeah.
how much it was required to do that. You understand?
Yeah.
Some people, they'll hear it and they can't appreciate, like, yo, that is a big deal. Not to mention that I did that 3 times over, and now I have all the other stuff. That's nothing. I'm not going to speak about that. But the
That's
challenge,
crazy.
the challenge is I made it look easy, right? Because I've
Yeah.
been doing it for a long time. I made it look
Yeah.
easy. Even to this day, I make it look easy, and I have so much. I've amassed so much that it's hard for people to appreciate any one thing. That's the downside to my experience in this, is because I do it so quickly, and I make it look easy, and I have so much. It's hard for people to focus their attention on any one accomplishment,
Hmm.
because it's just so much. It's overwhelming to the average mind. It's like, oh yeah, that's Hotep. He's got 3 kids books, graphic novels, stickers. He got a plush toy. He's just got a lot of stuff. It's just because if I had one, think about this, right? And this, like, if I just had one animation, I could center everyone's and focus everyone's attention on that singular thing, and
Yeah.
people could appreciate that more, because it's only one thing. Their mind can focus on it, right? It's
Yeah.
hard to explain, but I've come to appreciate that. When you're known it's like the difference between Prince and Michael Jackson,
Hmm.
right? So people would argue this, and I can't tell you what, one is more, but Prince can, is known to have been able to do a lot more. His
Yeah.
genius his genius is in so many different things, right?
Yep.
He can play the music, write music for himself and his brother and sound like two totally different. Okay, like he can sing,
And
he can
Sinead
dance. O'Connor, yes, I
and
mean,
and
okay, yes,
that dude was
and
prolific.
yes, but Michael Jackson, most people know him for the sing and dance, right? That is
Yeah.
basically Michael Jackson singing. So fewer things, but if you call it today, Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Like Michael
Hmm.
Jackson is here, like he is way beyond Prince, even though Prince can do so much more. So when you're looking at
Yeah.
artistic and talent, you have to give it to Prince. People typically give it to Prince, but if you give it to global impact and all that, it goes to Michael. And so I find that to be a common situation where people who are extremely talented and geniuses in so many different areas are not as are hard to single because you don't know what to categorize them as because he's so much. When you're
Hmm.
just like one thing and good at that, you can categorize them and then just give them that that shine, if you will. It's hard to explain, but something
Yeah.
like that. That's my situation right now. I'm Prince.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
I will say, uh, Michael was a better actor because if you compare The Wiz to Purple Rain, boy, that Purple Rain, boy, that was. I love me some Prince, but that Purple Rain, his acting in Purple Rain when he busts in the house to get his
Yeah,
dad
get his
off his
mom.
mom.
Yeah.
I was like, no, wow, it was so believable up until just now.
Mm, mm, mm. Man.
That's hilarious. Anyway, let's bring this plane in for landing.
Mhm.
Hotep, thank you, sir. Thank you for letting me know, thank you for making me feel somewhat normal. I could
No,
tell
no, brother,
if
you're
we
not.
were friends, but we were kids, we probably would have got whooped.
Definitely. I got a lot of whoopings, man. Saved my life, man.
You and me
Saved
both.
my life. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but nah, we're not normal. That's part of the challenge to this, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To your point, there's many times I felt like, man, I'm like an alien, man. Like
Yeah.
what's I look around like why I'm not like these people. I don't even know what they're saying. Speaking of Diddy, I heard a song from Mace, and he says, "Yo, I don't even understand the language of people with short money." You understand? And I love that verse. He said, "I don't even understand the language of people with short money." And I not necessarily talking about money, but just I walk around and I hear people talking what they're talking about. I'm like, I don't find that interesting. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you talking about these things? That has nothing to do with you or me. Like,
Yeah.
that's not even relevant. Who cares what these people are doing? You don't know them. I mean, like, why is that important to you? So,
Yeah.
we're not normal. Um, and that's the reason why, these types of relationships are so important because if you don't have them, you will feel abnormal and alone,
Yeah.
and alone. So,
Especially when you tell me how many times has your closest circle, how many times have they just gotten tired of your bullshit? Will you sit down?
man, look, everybody, listen, every time it comes to my wife, for example, I told her after my third book that I was going to stop. All right. And I told you how many I got, so, you know,
27 later, she's like,
27 later. Yeah. She just said, that's just what it is. Again, they love you for who you are and who
yeah,
you are not, man, and vice
yeah,
versa, you know.
yeah. All
Mhm.
right, man. Again, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. It was a truly pleasure to meet you. I'm excited to hear more about your boys being nosy and adventurous, and they have a dad like you
Yeah.
that understands that. That's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. Wishing you all the luck on Black Lion and Cubs.
Thank you, my brother.
Um, yeah. So if people are looking for Black Lion and Cubs and everything that you're working on, how can they find you online?
The best way is my website, blacklionandcubs.com. Everything that's the central location for all things for the brand. I do have a TikTok and an IG page, and both of them are at Black Lion and Cubs. Um, so yeah, that's it. A lot of great things coming up down the tubes. I got the plushie toy. In fact, hey, this is the prototype for the plushie toy right here, man.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so this is his name is Super Awesome, and his character is I'm just very excited about him. So I got the prototype for the plushie toy that'll be coming in later this month. I have the card game coming in over the summer. I just signed a contract with a licensing agent, so I'm getting to the space of licensing the characters
Nice.
and the stories. So that's
Nice.
yeah, I'm very excited about that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is, man, because that the
I've
license.
known I've known a couple people that have gotten to that level and it just kind of fizzles out. So it'll
Mm,
be fun to see you punch through and
man, listen, I'm excited about. Like I said, all this. Like I'm excited about life, man,
yeah,
and the journey and all the things that come along with it. So yeah, that's what's happening. So and then I have a relationship with Amazon Prime now, and
nice.
so the one of my stories can be seen on Amazon Prime as well.
Beautiful.
And I have a documentary that's coming out later this year called Black in Anime. It's a docu-series called Black in Anime, and the first episode of that series is done, and so within the next month or so should be streaming on Amazon Prime as well.
Nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Boy, go get some sleep.
Man, listen, I'm about to get to work, man. It's 10 o'clock. That means that's prime time. Everybody's sleeping, the kids sleeping, the wife sleeping. Let's get busy.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
love it. All right, everybody. And with that, we out.
Peace.